Today's visual effects use live action footage filmed with a green screen backdrop, motion capture cameras and software to insert rendered explosions and characters and sets and props and gadgets. It's a tool that helps movies tell a story. And this story for me began around the 85th Academy Awards.
You know, 2012 was a great year for movies. Hollywood shattered box office records with $10.8 billion in domestic sales. In fact, studio accountants have never had to work harder to prove nothing made a profit.
49 of the 50 highest grossing movies of all time heavily rely on visual effects to tell their story. And most of these movies have made more or close to $1 billion.
Now, this is going to be a big night for some of you people because, as we all know, winning an Oscar guarantees a long, successful career in the industry.
In the past 12 years, 24 VFX companies have filed for bankruptcy because they keep running out of money.
Where's all the money? That's as good as money, sir. Those are IOUs. Go ahead and add it up. Every cent's accounted for. Look. See this? That's a car. $275,000. Might want to hang on to that one.
So if all these new movies are making billions of dollars in the box office, then why are the VFX companies that helped make them losing so much money they have to keep declaring bankruptcy? It was during the 85th Academy Awards that a lot of movie fans started to take notice that there was a growing problem.
And the Oscar goes to Life of Pi.
Rhythm and Hughes accepts the award for Best VFX on Life of Pi. Meanwhile, you got hundreds of VFX artists protesting outside the theater because of the bad business practice that keep bankrupting all these companies. And it's a big deal because now you got the company who just won the Oscar for Best VFX, and even they are bankrupt.
To our director, Ang Lee, you are inspiration, and you made it an incredible journey for all of us.
Everybody had this little bubble of, hey, look at this, we did it. And then this odd slap in the face.
45 seconds in, I started seeing the red flashing light in the back saying, you gotta wrap it up.
And then when they started playing that stupid Jaws theme, it was just insulting enough. I mean, in any other year, that might have been actually kind of funny.
To my children, Christopher, Thomas, Alexander, and Samantha, thank you for inspiring me every day. For my mom and dad, thank you for telling me I could do any crazy career choice I wanted. Finally, I want to thank all the artists who worked on this film for over a year, including Rhythm and Hughes. Sadly, Rhythm and Hughes is suffering severe financial difficulties right now. I urge you all to remember.
So you've got all these VFX artists pissed off outside the theater. You've got the best VFX company in the world cut off after 40 seconds. Why is everybody angry? What are the business practices of the VFX industry that have ruined so many companies and gotten everybody so mad? To answer that, we need to look at where the money comes from. There are only 6 big Hollywood studios that are responsible for the majority of the effects production work. Because there's only 6, they have gained absolute power in controlling prices for the VFX companies. It's very similar to The Price is Right. Everybody is bidding on the same showcase. And whichever VFX company doesn't overbid or bids the lowest will win the showcase. Hollywood studios have the VFX contestants competing against each other in a race to be the cheapest. The cheapest price is agreed upon using an outdated method called the fixed bidding system. The fixed bidding system is more of a game than a business. It's like going to the casino and playing blackjack and trying to predict what the dealer has in his hand. Say the studio has 500 green screen shots and a list of demands. The VFX company has to say they'll do it for $10 million so they can be the cheapest. And they get paid right away and begin working because sometimes it could take up to a year to finish. But over at the studio, the editing and the reshoots and the story changes make it so VFX has to be redone to fit those changes. So VFX is still giving the studio 500 shots. But there was way more overtime than originally planned. So like in Blackjack, it's very easy to go over 21 and bust. The more the studio changes things on the VFX crew, the more they have to re-render their work. And that causes more overtime. And that causes more debt.
They're not even a real country anyway.
The Canadian government struck up a deal with the Hollywood studios to give large tax breaks to them if they used Canadian visual effects companies. Other governments started giving even more tax incentives to the studios in England and New Zealand. USA visual effects companies can't compete because the studios get too much money back from those foreign governments. If the studio pays $10 million to a VFX company in Vancouver, the Canadian government will give them back $3 million in tax subsidies. So the studio really only spent about $7 million for what normally would cost them $10 million. US companies have to take a $3 million pay cut if they want to compete and hope they can make $3 million up elsewhere out of thin air. Many VFX companies have decided to leave the US and move to Canada, but the cost of opening a new facility can also be several million. No matter what, the debt keeps piling up. We can see why these visual effects companies are going out of business. This is an ongoing battle, but change comes from surviving your losses. For now, the fixed bidding system has allowed studios to rob companies of the opportunity to provide a fair wage. And the same 6 studios control all of the work done by the VFX companies. Tax subsidies have given foreign countries a financial advantage. But the industry will change because we love movies. We see this business model as broken, but story will continue to challenge our technology, and in that challenge, visual effects live on.